My name is Joe Peroni, and this is the Rise Above Project. And today I want to continue my talk on Ozzy Osbourne. It's been over a week now, and it's still on my mind, so I figured I would continue to talk about it. Ozzy Osbourne was known as the Prince of Darkness. Now, what I want to talk about today is that, number one, I don't think that that's an actual good term for him. I think that's incredibly simplistic, number one. And if you actually look through his lyrics, you would understand that Ozzy Osbourne had a lot more in common with John Lennon. Throughout Ozzy's career, most of his career, he was maligned for being satanic, antisocial, a devil worshiper, a bad influence on the generations of people who listened to him. But if you want to use the term Prince of Darkness, at least in my opinion, I think what you could say is that he spoke honestly about very difficult things in life, such as mental health issues and the state of the world that we live in the corruption that we have to live with in this world that most of the time we can't do a thing about. We have to learn how to live with it. Today was a very eye-opening day. I went to church today, and my pastor did a really great sermon today. He actually talked about Ozzy a little bit. And before today, we had talked, and we did agree that Ozzy Osbourne has a lot more in common with John Lennon than this devil worshiper type of person that people say he is. And after church, of course, I get into a conversation with one of the people from the congregation, and of course he had something to say about it. And I find this so odd that when you go to a church and you think you're among like-minded people, and what happens is that you realize that 50% of the churchgoers, or probably more, they tend to have anti-Christian values. They tend to be racist, they tend to be homophobic, they tend to be misogynistic. They follow a president that's anything but Christian. And it's hard to put this together. And as I was talking to this guy, it occurs to me that people have their own thought in their head, and whatever they listen to or read, it kind of doesn't matter. They kind of just reconfigure whatever's out there in the world to whatever's going on inside their own head. It's like they're wearing these glasses, and if these glasses are ignorant, if they're misogynistic, if they're racist, it doesn't matter if you go to church and you're studying this Bible and Jesus is all about love and being a social justice warrior, and you hear that, and you can hear it from a preacher, and you completely reverse that and you argue against it. I don't understand that. So let me get back to Ozzy Osbourne being a lot more similar to John Lennon in nature. And some of the themes that Ozzy would have throughout his songs are, number one, that love is a fundamental force for change, which is the same thing as what John Lennon had said. Number two, unity and human connection. Three, he advocated for peace and nonviolence. Number four, he was an activist against war and injustice. And number five, he promoted diversity and equality. Going back to church for a second, and my experience today, and a lot of other days in church, I'll never understand it where, again, 50% of the congregation doesn't believe in diversity and equality. But you're in church. You're studying the Bible. You're worshiping a person or Jesus who was about equality and diversity and love and non-judgment. And these people are doing the exact opposite. I just don't understand human beings. Ozzy also talked a lot about fighting against corruption and the status quo, which is something that I think we could all get behind, but I know I do. You know, the status quo right now, I mean, we can see, like, how are certain people who are completely anti-religious, let's say, are most of, or at least half of the people who are in church, and they're the ones who are basically running it. How is this possible? Right? How is it possible that the people who are running our country in politics are people that have no care whatsoever about the people that they're supposed to represent? So what I want to do now is, to be more specific, I want to go over some of the lyrics in some of Ozzy's songs. The first one I want to bring up is Crazy Train. Now, I know that sounds weird to bring that up as being this real socially conscious song, because Ozzy had this way of doing this thing about, oh, I'm so crazy, and everybody would jump on the bandwagon and, you know, all this kind of stuff and think that he's just this madman kind of guy. And the genius in this is that this song came out in 1980. You could have listened to the song for the last 45 years or so and never knew what the song was actually about, because people just assume that it's about Ozzy because he's crazy, right? Or let's just jump on the crazy train, let's go wild and jump up and down. But that has nothing to do with it. So he had this amazing ability to preach to you without knowing you were being preached to. And therefore, if you were liberal, you could like him. If you were conservative, you could like him. If you could be on any area of any spectrum and still like it, just based on the music, and think of the chorus of saying Crazy Train, and everybody goes, oh yeah, that's amazing. So you could be a drunk guy at the bar and, you know, having your 10th drink and going, ooh, Crazy Train, and you think that's what you're listening to. But that was not the message of the song. So let's go through this a little bit. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as foes. Maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. Now, that should be a Bible verse right there, right? Mental wounds not healing. Life's a bitter shame. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. I've listened to preachers. I've listened to fools. I've watched all the dropouts who make their own rules. One person conditioned to rule and control. The media sells it and you live the role. Interesting there. So the media sells it and you live the role. That could be this whole Ozzy Osbourne crazy Prince of Darkness guy right there, right? Because the media jumped on it, and people who don't know how to pay attention for more than 3 seconds or don't know how to read lyrics just assumed that he was this crazy lunatic guy. I know that things are going wrong for me. You got to listen to my words. Heirs of a Cold War, that's what we've become. Inheriting troubles, I'm mentally numb. Crazy, I just cannot bear. I'm living with something that just is not fair. And again, who among us cannot... We have to be able to see that that's even going on now in this world. That the world has gone crazy. All right, even like I said, in church, we have these people that are anti-church, yet they're in church thinking that they're good churchgoers, right? So, yes, the world is going crazy, and Ozzy talked about it back then. Let's talk about another song here. This one's called Dreamer. Again, the word dreamer, you can also connect to John Lennon in his song Imagine, which of course Ozzy Osbourne's favorite musician was John Lennon. Now, somebody could say, well, that's impossible. They sound nothing alike. Well, okay, that might be true, but if you ever listen to the lyrics, or even just looked at his glasses, you could tell that he loved John Lennon. So, the answers are there, you just have to look. So let's go over some of the words to this. Gazing through the window at the world outside, wondering will Mother Earth survive? hoping that mankind will stop abusing her sometime. So here we go. We're talking about, you could say, global climate change. All right, again, if you were actually religious, for example, and you believe that God created everything on earth, you wouldn't want to abuse it. So why is it now that Trump supporters and conservatives and Republicans couldn't care less about nature? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's because they're not following the stuff that they're supposed to be following. They're following some angry orange guy now. They're not following what they're supposed to follow. After all, there's only just the two of us, and here we are still fighting for our lives, watching all of history repeat itself time after time. I'm just a dreamer. I dream my life away. I'm just a dreamer who dreams of better days. I watch the sun go down like every one of us. I'm hoping that the dawn will bring a sign, a better place for those who will come after us this time. Your higher power may be God or Jesus Christ. It doesn't really matter much to me. Without each other's help, there ain't no hope for us. I'm living in a dream of fantasy. If only we could all just find serenity. It would be nice if we could live as one. When will all this anger, hate, and bigotry be gone? Again, sounding very much like John Lennon. And let me answer that question, right? Like, when will all this anger, hate, and bigotry be gone? I have no idea, because every time I go to church, I see it there. Again, with these Trump supporters, like, what are you supporting? Like, they seem to, again, are they angry? Yes. Are they bigots? Most of them, yes. Are they showing incredible hate? Yes. So Ozzy spoke of this, but it's like he did an amazing job of not being political when he was 100% political. So that's another great song by Ozzy. And let me just do one more, because I could do this all day, but you should probably listen to the songs yourself if you haven't, or if you have listened to them and you really didn't listen to them with the lyrics and really soaked in what the messages were, now would be a good time to do that. This song is called Believer. And by the way, all these songs that I'm doing are from his solo. They're not from Black Sabbath. Watching the time go and feeling belief grow. Rise above the obstacles. People beseech me, but they'll never teach me the things that I already know. Dreams that have shattered may not have mattered. Take another point of view. Doubts will arise, though. Like chasing a rainbow, I can tell a thing or two. You've got to believe in yourself, or no one will believe in you. Imagination like a bird on the wing, flying free for you to use. I can't believe they stop and stare and point their fingers, doubting me. Their disbelief suppresses them, but they're not blind. It's just that they won't see. I'm a believer, I ain't no deceiver. Mountains move before my eyes. Destiny planned out. I don't need no handout. Speculation of the wise. Again, very brilliant here. I find this as very moving, if Tony Robbins or somebody was talking this, you would think it's a speech to improve your self-esteem and to get you going in life, right? But because it's Ozzy Osbourne, they're going to say he's a devil worshiper. It makes no sense. I love this part in here. Well, the whole thing, actually. You've got to believe in yourself or no one will believe in you. Yep, that's true. I like when he says, I can't believe they stop and stare and point their fingers, doubting me. Their disbelief, think about this, their disbelief suppresses them. Like, how amazing is that? Like, how many times, like, I wish I had $1 for every time somebody told me I couldn't do something. Somebody else's disbelief in me, or if you're listening to this, their disbelief in you, it should not suppress you or stop you. It suppresses or stops them. And that is brilliant. Completely brilliant. And it's not that they're not, because they're not blind. It's just that they won't see. Again, it's a choice that they choose not to see. It's just like the conversation I had in church today. And somebody's talking about the LGBTQ community. We just finished hearing a sermon about how you shouldn't do the judging, right? Like, who are you to judge who somebody loves? And yet now I got somebody in my ear telling me how, okay, it's okay to have thoughts of loving somebody that's the same sex, but to follow through is the sin. It's like, what are you kidding me? Where are you getting this garbage from? Why is there so much hate in the world? Why is there so much bigotry? Why is there so much homophobia? Like, why does this have to exist other than the fact of, people are so insecure in themselves. They're so uneducated. They have no contact, I guess, with other people that are different than them. So they just assume, or they try to make themselves feel better by putting other people down. So let me end it here. The show's 16 minutes long. I guess what I wanted to say is that overall, Ozzy Osbourne, sure, you want to call him the Prince of Darkness, go ahead. But I think that's incredibly simplistic. And for whatever the reasons may be, most of it marketing and media and people's just general lack of intelligence would lead people to believe that Ozzy was not as smart and as intelligent and inspiring and insightful as he actually was. My name is Joe Peroni. This is the Rise Above Project. Please subscribe and tell a friend. Thank you.